Good day everyone! So for today's presentation, we are going to present to you our stylistic analysis of the short story Magnificence by Estrella Alfon. But before that, may I first introduce myself and my group mates. I am Cristale Empahinag, and we also have here Miss Keril Lopez and Miss Aliyah Santos.
So for the presentation outline, first we have the close reading of the literary text, which will be discussed by Ms. Keril Lopez, and next is the overall interpretation of the literary work, which will be discussed by Aliyah Santos, and lastly is the linguistic features, which will be discussed by Ms. Krishna Pahinag. So good morning everyone. So let us now move on to the close reading of the short story Magnificence by Estrella Alfon. So Magnificence by Estrella Alfon tells the story of a family who was dumped by a man named Vicente, the antagonist, who initially displayed a gentle and kind demeanor towards the mother in the part 1, the protagonist, the 8-year-old boy named Oscar, and the 7-year-old girl. The man later betrayed the family by implying sexual attraction to the 7-year-old girl. The author narrates the story in the third-person omniscient point of view, as indicated by the use of third-person pronouns she, her, he, him, their, and how the narrator gave readers access to the character's consciousness to highlight and underscore the character's thoughts, feelings, and action as the story progresses. The story takes place in family's home, and the author uses this to figuratively and symbolically hint and indicate that conflict or abuse can occur even in the safety of our own home. This story started when a man named Vicente approached the mother and offered to help her children with their homework in the part 2. He treated the children with kindness and gentleness as it was indicated under part 1, especially the little girl, and gained their trust and favor by using the range of pencil. However, it turned out that there was a dark motive behind Vincent's kindness and gentleness towards the two kids. The story then reached its climax when the mother caught him performing the deed. Angered by what she saw, and calmed the little girl by washing her and packing her in her bed while the man's clothes and pencil were thrown into the kitchen range. Vicente is the embodiment of the themes of child abuse and predation. Also, pedophilia is evoked in Magnificence, in which Vicente exhibits sexual attraction to the 7-year-old girl. The story depicts a mother's battle against male abuse, which manifests as several of gender stereotypes, gender stereotypes, and women empowerment. It also shows a mother's magnificent love for her children and how a woman would find her magnificent courage to fight for her children. So that's all for the close reading of the short story Magnificent. Let us now move on to the overall interpretation that will be discussed by Ms. Aliyah Santos.
The personas in the short story Magnificence by Estrella Alfon are Vicente, a bus driver, a 7-year-old girl, 8-year-old boy, and the brother of the girl named Oscar, and the mother and father of the children, which are remained unnamed in the story. The short story is about the bravery of the mother when she saw her daughter getting abused by their tutor, Vicente. The story shows that the mother will fight anyone and will not be a coward just because she is a housewife. The mother shows the opposite of the gender norms about women. And now, let's move on to the linguistic stylistic features. For the first one, it's the lexical repetition of the word pencils from the paragraph 3, 4, and 5. With the passages, the range was 4 pencils. These pencils selling for very low but unattainable to a child. 1 pencil was not at all what one had ambitions for. One kept a collection, 4 or 5 pencils of different colors. To arouse the envy of the children, knowing a child's desires, he promised that he would give each of them not 1 pencil but 2. When they got the pencils, they whooped with joy, meaning pencil was labeled as the rage, implying that it was extremely trendy or stylish at that time. Pencils were appealing to children at the moment. Therefore, it was employed as a medium to stimulate their interest. The author then utilized the word pencil as a primary subject idea because that is the focus of the children's desire. As a result, Vicente exploited the image of a pencil to acquire the children's and the mother's trust, as well as to exploit the pencil's positive connotative meaning and make the kids want to see him again. Giving the kids pencils was an act of favor and doting on them in order for Vicente to spend time with them and make them want him to visit again. The next repetition is a semantic repetition of the word light from paragraph 1, 25, and 26 with the passages, "At night when the little girl and her brother were bathed in the light of the big-shaded bulb, he would stand for a while just beyond the pool of light. The mother looked at him, stopped in her tracks, and advanced into the light. She advanced into the glare of the light. The mother kept coming into the light." Meaning, many ideas in the literary text are deduced from the author's use of the word light. In paragraph 1, the word light connotes purity, illumination, and ultimate actuality, as depicted in the children's innocence and the realism of the circumstance stated at the outset. Light also represents reason, intelligence, and the mother's ability to develop rational reasoning. This is based on Plato's allegory of the cave, which depicts humanity leaving the cave and venturing outside the light to view the world around them. In chapters 25 and 26, the mother keeps coming and advancing into the light. The mother is consistently aware of the truth and reality. Finally, in the reading piece, light represents intelligence and knowledge, morality, and purity. The next repetition is the semantic repetition of the word shadow from paragraphs 1, 25, 26, and 34 with the passages, "The rest of him in shadow, the mother looked at him, stopped in her tracks, and advanced into the light. She had been in the shadow. Vicente made as if to move away into the shadows that ate him up." The concept of shadow utilized by the author, which signifies the shutting out of light, infers the presentations or presence of some hidden darkness or source of evil as implied in man's nature. As described by the author from paragraph 25, being in a shadow can also mean ignorance or despair, because those who are in the dark and shadow have no idea what is actually going on light or on the surface. The second linguistic stylistic feature is the inversion of paragraph 1 and paragraph 2, with the passages, "There was nothing to fear, for the man was so gentle, so kind, his voice soft, his manners low. Their mother saw them with eyes that held bright, and then to partly gloss over the maternal gloating she exhibited." Meaning, the author emphasized the juxtaposition of gender stereotype descriptions by portraying the man Vicente as gentle, so kind from paragraph 1, and his voice so soft, his manners low from also paragraph 1, which is typically shown as women stereotype. The woman, the mother, on the other hand, was described as with pride in her eyes from paragraph 2, and gloating she exhibited from also paragraph 2, which are commonly depicted by the male stereotype.
Also, one of the linguistic stylistic feature which can be found in the short story is parallelism. The dominance their mother in paragraph 2 and 11 with the passage, "At the meeting of the neighborhood association of which their mother was president, their mother replied, 'He's only a bus conductor,' and the observation, their mother said to their father, who was eating his evening meal between paragraphs of the book on masonry rites that he was reading. 'It is a pity,' said the mother." This means that the portrayal of the role and power of the two gender represented by the man, Vicente, and the woman, the mother, is one of the story's most important elements. Vicente is only a bus driver, which can be found in paragraph 11, but his mother is the president of the neighborhood association as shown in the text. Also, the author demonstrated the mother's dominance not only through her occupation or position in comparison to the guy, but also through the manner that discussed between her and the father. In comparison to the father, the mother's view and thoughts win out. Furthermore, the author provides the idea that the mother is more dominant in terms of power by the mother's tone. It's a pity, which can be found in the paragraph 11, which refers to the man's occupation. Also, parallelism is used because of the innocence of the 7-year-old girl and scream, which can be found in paragraphs 8 and 20, with the passage, "The little girl screamed out of his arms and laughed a little breathlessly, disturbed but innocent. The little girl kept screaming, for somehow she felt uncomfortable to be held." In here, screaming is defined as the twisting or wriggling of the body, which is frequently the result of anxiety, worry, or discomfort. As a result, the author emphasizes the innocence of the little girl, as she only expresses discomfort by screaming rather than knowing her better and informing her parents about the sexual assault she was allegedly subjected to. Another linguistic stylistic feature found in the short story is the pronominalization, because there is 1. The reversal of pronoun she or her as correlation to the woman's slap. In the paragraph, the woman raised her hand and slapped him full hard in the face. With her other hand, she slapped him on the other side of the face again. His face continually opened the force of the woman's slapping. This means that it's worth noting that the reversal of pronouns and gender nouns are deliberate. The author chose the noun woman to show that the anger fired, which can be found in paragraph 35, is more than just a mother's classification. Instead, she uses woman who raised her hand and slapped him full hard in paragraph 35, not simply to represent a particular mother, but to represent all women who have been abused. Number 2. Mother's care in the paragraph 35 and 36, with the passage, "When her mother reached her, the woman held her out. Her mother presided over the bath. The little girl took, scrubbed her, and soaped her, and then wiped her gently." This noun and pronoun reversal can be seen throughout the short story. She is referred to as the mother, yet while she is punishing the man Vicente, she is referred to as a woman. As a result, when she looks after her daughter, she is once again recognized as the mother.
So let us now move on to the figures of speech. First is the onomatopoeia, which was indicated in part 25, and it says, "Hush," the mother said. Hush is a word that refers to a hush or quietness, especially after a loud event. By emphasizing the behavior of the mother, who is the only one hushing down, soothing, and comforting her daughter after all the noise and turmoil that occurred in their home and lives, the author then signaled how the story would achieve its resolution. Next is the personification, which was also indicated in part 35, and it says, "Her voice had been like a bell of safety to the little girl." This demonstrates that the young girl felt relief when she heard her mother and knew that her mother would understand the unusual feelings she had with Vicente. As a result, the mother, who represents the polar opposite of gender conventions, deduced what Vicente was doing to the child. So that's all for the figures of speech. So that's all for our stylistic analysis of the short story Magnificence, and that would be the end of our presentation. Thank you for watching.